Today on Defining Wealth Beyond the Numbers, we're joined by Katelin Chapman, founder and creative director of Known Creative Group. Katelin is the force behind one of the Lowcountry's most community-driven creative agencies, helping local businesses, nonprofits, and leaders clarify their message, strengthen their brand, and communicate with purpose. What really stood out to me in our conversation is how intentionally Katelin approaches her work. For her, creative strategy isn't just about visuals or messaging. It's about relationships, trust, and helping people tell their story that they're meant to tell. Her background across creative direction, communications, and community engagements shapes the way she guides clients towards authenticity and impact. I think you'll appreciate her perspective on leadership, purpose, and building a business rooted in service. Her definition of wealth is especially thoughtful and deeply aligned with the heart of this podcast. Welcome to Defining Wealth Beyond the Numbers. Today we're joined by Katelin Chapman from Known Creative Group. Katelin, welcome.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
Oh, thanks for taking the time to come here. I always like to start off with, what was your first job?
My first job was a lifeguard at our town pool in the amazing town of Southbury, Connecticut.
Okay.
A little town. And my older brother had been a lifeguard years before. Actually, both my brothers. And my dad had been a lifeguard, not there, but it was kind of like a rite of passage.
From the family.
Yeah. And it was kind of enough work that you made some money, but also I got to be outside a lot, got to be around my friends. And already I noticed that working with people, getting along with people, having this community sense was something that I really started to look for in jobs. I mean, the suntan wasn't
especially around age, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
The boys thought it looked good.
I also probably regretted some of the choices of lack of sun lotion at that time, but still, it was good. I wouldn't change it.
It's a life lesson.
Absolutely.
Right?
You're right.
So now you make your kids put suntan lotion on, right?
To almost the opposite end, where I'm like, maybe you do need a little vitamin D. Okay. So, yeah.
And then what about that after that? So that was your first progression. Where did you go from there? Give me some sense of your path.
Absolutely. So I was able to have some great jobs and internships. I went to the University of New Hampshire. I have a degree in sport marketing, believe it or not. My father wanted to make sure that I did not graduate with what he called a basket making degree, that I actually could do something with it. He soon understood that it was a real degree. It is a real degree. And did it take some convincing in the beginning? It did, after that first year, for sure. But then I started to do amazing internships with like Jane Blaylock out of the LPGA out of Boston. I really knew that sport and sport marketing was something that I loved. I had a passion for. I've always been an athlete. I just love what sport does for community, for confidence, especially women's sport. It's just really a big thing. So anyway, that brought me to wanting to move to Colorado. Again, my parents were like, that's great. You have a degree now and you can go. But I wanted to be a kind of a golf bum in the summer and a ski bum in the winter. But anyone who knows me, like that's an ideal that I have. But I quickly was working for a ski resort and a golf resort where I
think you thought it would be. And then
I thought it'd be amazing,
yeah.
but I was able to transition my love for being outside, being around people, into actually having a corporate job. And was in Colorado for a couple of years. And my husband and I got transferred to Arizona with the same company, always resort side. And then we both lost our jobs, believe it or not. But we were young, married, no children, had a dog, owned a townhome. And today that the result or my reaction to that would have been different. But back then we knew it was coming. The company that we both worked for got bought out. But that allowed us to say, do we move back to Colorado and kind of go back into the mountains, or do we move back east to be closer to family? And we chose the more mature thing to do, or at the time, we moved to Hilton Head in 2006 and never looked back. So it's been wonderful.
Any specific reason for Hilton Head?
My parents had already retired here. I'd grown up vacationing here. My grandparents always were here. So we would drive. We were those people that would drive down from Connecticut, the 10 plus hours in the car for a week's vacation.
Did that?
Yeah, you did it as well. Yeah. And it's just the, to be honest, we tried to move away from here quite a few times and before we really were settled into the community, thinking that before we had kids, before we understood the magic of this place, we said, should we go in a little bigger city? We miss the mountains a little bit, but we live in such a special place, and working in a special place as well has really kept us grounded here. And it's been amazing. So
you mentioned community, right? So look, I've known you from quite some time, right?
Yes,
and I know that's important to you, but can you just give me some sense of why community as in a leadership role is so important to you?
I haven't been in the sports marketing side of business for a while, but I've been involved with local small businesses here since I have been employed here. And that has looked like working for a private golf community here. I did marketing for some small businesses from retail. And in a good way, I love going to the grocery store and seeing someone that I maybe do business with or we're in sports teams together. But having that as leadership, just being able to lean on each other and get connected professionally, but also personally is really, really important. And I think that helps as leaders to know that you have a community that has your back. Hilton Head and Bluffton and the surrounding areas, very charity-focused area. We are really neighbors who lock arms with each other. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. It's amazing.
Actually, that's how we came about, right? Where our kids were on the same baseball team. And then I realized your personality. So when we needed help for our marketing at Alliance Global Partners of Low Country, the first person I called was you.
Yes.
So, and what always impressed me about you is your mother, and I know you're a mother, but not everyone has this, right? The motherly instincts. I wouldn't call you our marketing director. I would call you our chief mom officer, right? Because you care so much and it's obvious. So where does that come from?
Well, does that put you and the team as children? Is that
Sometimes we feel that way.
Exactly.
My wife would say I am.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. And part of my career path, I thought this is before I had children, when I was newly married, I wanted to climb that corporate ladder, even if the ladder in the corporation was ski industry, or I wanted to make impact. And I thought the only way I could make impact was working more, being at a higher level. And when I have children, I have 3 children. We have 2 teenager boys and a daughter who's in 5th grade. And understanding that leadership role starts at home and how they're watching me now make impact through a business that I was able to start about a year ago. I'll talk more about that in a moment, but having them see me lead that way, I think it does translate into how I really want to take care of my clients. I want to come behind them and push them forward and say, go on, you can do it. I believe in you. And
I don't know if you're that subtle about it. You make sure we get things done, which is great, by the way, because that's what people need, right? Sometimes they need that little extra nudge and you give it. So.
I really, really believe in people and I want to cheer people on. And that comes back from the sports background, and I love to coach. I've coached youth sports. I really believe in people and I want their story to be told. And sometimes, people they know what they want to say, but they don't know exactly how to say it.
I agree.
And or they're not sure if what they have to say really means something. And coming in with fresh eyes and fresh ears and being able to say, I heard that, and that's a great thing that we can push forward, or we need to streamline this down into one message so that you may understand your business, but we need other people to quickly understand that.
Yeah.
So,
and, business owners have a lot of ideas.
Yes.
Right. And oftentimes, like you just said, those ideas are all over the place and they don't know because they're all important to them.
Right.
To that person. That's why they're in their mind.
Right.
Where would that then reflect on the customers, or the clients, whoever it is you're trying to do, which is great. And you're able to do that, which is very helpful. And the mom instincts of saying, look, that's working very well, or we got to change that.
Right.
Right. I get where you're coming from, but we got to change that.
Right.
So tell me about what made you want to start your own business, right? So Known Creative Group. What was the vision there? What made you want that?
This is talking about, I have to practice what I preach now. And I have to say, spend time on my own business and growing my own business. I've been able to, once I started having my boys are only 19 months apart. So I quickly had two under two. And it was now, they're driving and all the things. But at that time, I really needed to transition and I wanted to be at home. But I still wanted to keep my marketing hat or my leadership hat active. And I was fortunate to be connected with some great local shops here that allowed me. One person said, we just need a marketing person who can work part-time from home. And I was like, that is me right now. That is me. And then I had that third baby and a couple years later, and that really, and we got a dog right around the same time. But
glutton for punishment.
Seriously. And it really, I started to understand that if I couldn't be everywhere all at once, and starting to define really how can I help more than one business, or how can I help stay grounded at home, but also still connected to the community. And I, after a lot of, pep talks to myself and getting my courage up, about a year ago, I formed my own LLC of Known Creative Group. And a lot of it hasn't changed. My day-to-day hasn't changed, but it is allowing me to finally say, okay, this is the business, this is the personal life, and really be able to separate them and focus my attention, not necessarily equally, but appropriately when needed. And that definition of defining what I actually did has helped me think more clearly, dream more clearly, communicate exactly what I do. Because even when you and I started working together, you said, you do marketing, right? I said, yeah, I do. I said,
that is how.
It was we were at, our sons were playing basketball against each other, and we'd known each other, obviously. And I said, okay. And then we said, well, how can I help? And then we started talking, and I appreciate you coming up to me and asking me, because it helped me define exactly what I can offer and what I don't do.
Which is great. And you've explained that very well. Right? So that's great. But so what qualities do you think are important in a leader, and a community leader, a business owner? Give me some sense of what you think, because everyone's idea is different.
Yeah, I think humility is a big part of it. Saying, I don't always, get it right, and I'm not perfect, and let's try this. Well, okay, you can still think that's fine. Retract that. But it's still just working that, hey, let's just roll up our sleeves. Let's do this together. I also really try with my clients to say, focus on this. We're going to take care of this together. And don't be thinking about these other things. Keep them in the back of your mind, and let's focus this, and let's get this wrapped up, and then we can move on to the other. And you and I work well together, because I'm trying to wrap something up over here, and then you're always saying,
what's next?
Well, what's next? And I appreciate that, because it keeps me moving forward in that way as well. But a good leader, in my opinion, would be just someone who gets and comes shoulder to shoulder with their clients and shows that I'm here for you, and let's get this done together.
And focus, right? Because it sounds also like what you're able to do is help people focus. So leadership would be focus. I'm sure it's the same with your kids, right? Your kids I know my kids are all over the place.
Yes.
How do you get them to focus? But how do you do it in a way that they want to do it?
And I think it's setting this foundation of, let's do what we know we're really good at, or what we can do well. Let's do that, and let's set this foundation, and then we can add on. Nothing gets lost, nothing gets left behind. I think when we sometimes go too far ahead, and you can start to really forget where you started. Exactly.
Right? So what about mentors? I never had any mentors. I wish I did, but have you had some in your life? Give me a sense of if you did, and who they were and what they taught you.
I haven't had a formal business mentor. I have had amazing bosses. I've had amazing clients that I've been able to learn their business from, and see how they approach their work. But I would say that going back to the nuclear family that I grew up with, my dad, he was a realtor, and he arranged his schedule so that he worked really hard. He was the first one out in the morning, but then he was always at all of my games in the afternoon. And if he had to go back to work or had to do something later on, that was great. My mom, she was a homemaker, and she was there always. She was always available, and they worked as a team. So seeing them demonstrate those roles, but having also my dad always say, your mother is the best person in the world, and she's the reason why our family is together. Having that example, and also that is has allowed me to, you can't have it all, but it has allowed me to say family first and then adding the business in later. So
sounds like you learn from different people, different things. So there's no specific person, but you can take certain qualities from different people and emulate those and get rid of the ones that you might not want.
Agreed.
Yeah, which is impressive. Yeah, I do the same thing, which is important. So this is a podcast about wealth, right? And defining wealth. So if you can, we want to finalize, or the last question is, how has your definition of wealth evolved over the years, and what is it currently? So
as I alluded to in the beginning, I really did think I wanted to have as high power corporate job as I could. That was how I would define wealth. And I don't even think I knew what that meant. It meant more to me, I guess, at the time, about maybe how others were like, that's so cool. She has such a cool job. It's more of that coming back. I quickly learned, though, that especially having children, especially living in this place that, is nicknamed the slow country, not just the low country, but slowing down.
Not for the people.
That's
right. How we move.
That's right. It's the pace of life here is very slow, and being able to say that wealth really to me today means time. We have children that 2 of them are in high school, and the high school years are flying by. We have another daughter. We have a daughter who, as soon as the boys are gone, she'll be starting high school. And so having the most time, or flexible time that I can still get what I need done, but also support people and find that fire of building their businesses, that to me is true wealth, of being able to have the time.
It's funny because when you said before that your dad would go back to work, and he was very flexible, right?
Yes.
So, and that sounds as if that's your definition of wealth now also. It's amazing to me where these qualities or these things that you see early in life that don't register, but if you really think about it as you get older, they were such an impact on you.
I couldn't agree more. I didn't realize the value in that time. And, hindsight is 2020. So I just keep looking back to focusing on today. That's all we can focus on. That's all we have. And how much time how wealthy did I feel in my time? So,
well, you do a great job, and thank you for being here. And I appreciate your time. That was excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.